think, boom.
You're live.
There we go. All right.
Alrighty.
All right. Hang on. Wouldn't you know? The moment it starts. So, folks, there we go. We got some people popping on, or perhaps that's you and me.
No. That's
Is it
everybody.
viewers? Classic. So here's the deal. So, folks, basically, this is the first podcast that we've kind of been working on for about 2 months, and had a bunch of guests. But anyway, this is episode number one. It's called The Shit, and the main content is about Robin Trower. So heads up. But anyway, so we have well, I'll skip the tests and all that stuff. We've already talked about that. But anyway, long time in the making, and finally are on. So very pleased with that. The first one was gonna be about Aerosmith, and then that just caved, and I had too many Robin Trower, um, uh, things happen. So that's that. Let me. I'm checking my notes here.
You have an announcement.
Yeah, and then yeah. So the first little bit. So basically, the format of this thing. I do have a sheet on the format for the folks. But few and far between. But there'll be people that see this. So the the format is boom, we go live, and then corrections to the previous episodes, and there will be some every time, a couple. For example, the first one we tried to do, we were talking about Evanescence, and this is where Will's going to talk a little bit too. But the first episode we're talking about Evanescence, and I didn't know Amy Lee's name, the wonderful singer for Evanescence, and I've checked them out since. I was on the porch last night listening to live Evanescence, on YouTube, and so Amy Lee from Arkansas, of all places. We were talking today at work. Oh yeah, we go with the ear chili and stuff. We'll talk about that, but um, so she's from Arkansas, but the Evanescence, the band that's been around since the '90s, and the main takeaway there is how awesome she is and how awesome the band is. So Will, give us a snippet of. So Will saw a concert about 3 or 4 weeks ago in Tampa, and he was going to see My Chemical Romance. And then take it away, Will.
Well, I did see My Chemical Romance. But Evanescence happened to be the opener for this tour that they were doing, and unbeknownst to me, I did not know that Evanescence was opening until like a couple days prior. My buddy was like, "Hey, are you excited for this concert?" I go, "Yeah, My Chemical Romance. They haven't been on tour in years and years, and this will be a cool thing. They're finally coming back." He goes, "No, but for the opener for Evanescence." I go, "Whoa! Well, you didn't tell me that." Um, and so yeah, they were great. They were like Phil was saying, Amy Lee, lead singer, great vocal range. Um, One thing about live music that I'm sure everybody has experienced once in their life if they've been to a couple concerts was the fact that they didn't have the greatest audio mix. The sound engineers were not doing their job that night.
Right.
And even so, with the like mixing of vibrations and the drums kind of messing up some of the riffs and some of the vocals coming through, there was certain parts that she was just crystal clear, and even after I think it's been 20 years, 25 years of them playing music live and touring, like she sounds exactly how she does on tape in real life,
Mm,
like
mm,
to a T. And
mhm.
and when we got those moments of that clear, crisp voice, maybe the drums kind of killed it a little bit, and the guitar, she wasn't standing so close to the guitar. My God, dude, it was so good. She sounded amazing.
Wow, wow. And so Will sends me a little video, a phone video clip, and I was expecting My Chemical Romance, and it's the opening. It's when Evanescence came out on stage, and boom, they go into their first song, and I'm like, I don't think the lead singer for My Chemical Romance is a female. and, and that's what, and I'm going, it sounds like Evanescence. Anyway, so I found out later, but so Amy Lee, bless her heart and soul, um, My Chemical Romance touring as we speak, and I just wish I could see them, but I will one day. I that's a for sure a bucket list. But
So to interject there real quickly, there's this
hey,
very
I'm asking if anybody listening can hear you. I want to make sure because I think I should hear you in my. Oh, you know what? I'm direct out from my board. Never mind. Okay, okay, they can hear. Okay,
yeah, I think
sorry.
we're good. I think we're
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Um, Bill wants to see one of the greatest punk rock emo bands of the 20th century, and next year there's
Yeah.
this famous little festival called Rockville in Daytona, in which My Chemical Romance is headlining one of the days. So
Headlining.
there might be an episode that comes out here in the next half a year where Phil comes on here and goes, guys, I just had the most amazing weekend, and I watched My Chemical Romance headline at Rockville, Daytona.
Rockville. Yeah, Rockville, Daytona. So Will went to Rockville this year for on the Saturday or whatever. I think it was
Yeah.
Saturday. You went Lincoln Park was headlining, and that was kind of your goal. But it so happens that one of my favorite hard rock bands, Incubus, was playing, and then Will sends some absolutely epic. The start of their first two songs, probably off of
Yeah.
one of them was off of Morning View, and I said I got to go next year. The bottom line, yeah,
It's
man,
great, man. It's going to be great.
yeah. So we covered that, and very cool. Um, you never really talked about Lincoln Park. Could you give us a minute spiel on Lincoln Park?
I
It
didn't
was
see him.
fucking awesome, man.
I didn't see Lincoln Park. I didn't
Ah,
see Lincoln Park. I had actually had left before the set start, like right when the set was starting. And but from what I've heard, as the mass general opinion on that set was that it actually wasn't very good.
wow, wow, yeah. You never know, right? Yeah, yeah. You never know.
Because I think that was like, well, I don't want to speak out of place here, but I think that might have been one of their first few performances with their new lead singer.
Oh, that would make a huge difference,
Like,
right?
like some of the first times live in like I guess the last 3, 4, 5 years.
Yeah.
Um,
So let me ask, Durst, Fred Durst. I I and I have another part to explanation. It's not the right word, but about what we know and what we don't know. But is Fred still around? He's not with the band. Did he pass away? He didn't pass away.
think so. I don't
Yeah,
think so.
right. Just couldn't carry on with the band or something. Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, cool. All right. Wow. Oh, check this out. We got a comment. Will, tell them about that night we shared during Lincoln Park's set. That would well, that's that's fantastic.
No, this is one of mine, Phil. Don't worry about that.
I love it.
He
Okay,
wishes he spent a night with me at the Lincoln Park set. He wishes.
that's
Uh,
fantastic. But anyway, um, so because it's the first episode and it's going to be shown, it'll be on YouTube where families and friends of mine will see it later. Um, we, as far in scope, as far as our knowledge of music, obviously there's some things not covered, but by and large, we kind of got it covered. I'm of the rock, the heavy rock, the jazz, all the fucking jazz shit. Um, and that's kind of it for me, dating back to the Beatles in 1966 when I was 4 years old, listening to the Beatle records that my brother bought. Brother was 7 years older. Shout out to Bill Thomas. Oh my God, Bud Thomas. Bud, my brother Bud, was my musical influence because he was my older brother, and the Beatles were out, and so I was listening to Beatles '65 when I was 4 or 5 years old, and I've been hooked ever since. Um, I deviated a little bit there. I got to come back, but our genres. So we got it covered, and then and I said, "Will, everything but classical and country," and he goes, "Dude, I got it covered." I turns out briefly, Will played orchestra violin for years in school, and then had a country background from the radio from the parent dad days. But 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 I don't want to miss I don't want to misrepresent this. Um, dad's dad's big influence for Will was cool rock and heavy rock, as noted from the Led Zeppelin custom embroidered jacket yesterday. Tell us about that.
yeah, my my dad actually used to play in a local band. He played guitar. He was a singer, just for fun. Never really envisioned going farther than that.
Yeah.
And yeah, he had my mom back in like '85 had gotten him a custom embroidered leather jacket with the
Wow.
Led Zeppelin name font logo on the front
On the front.
and Zozo Wizard in the back.
So the back. So folks. So you'll find out shortly and immediately that Led Zeppelin was my favorite band, as millions and millions of people. But the back, this embroider on the back of this jacket, it's it's got the wizard, which is Page from Song Remains the Same, and then the four symbols from Zeppelin 4 record, Zoso, Zeppelin 4, um, embroidered quite nicely and largely on the back of the jacket. And it just blew me away. I was like, it's just epic. I said, you at auction, you could get 4 grand for this thing. But anyway, yeah. Any more about that? So your dad, bottom line, your dad was cool and influenced you heavily with the music. Then.
Is cool. He's
Yeah,
still
and it
kicking.
still is cool.
He's still kicking. He's still around.
Right.
So so tell me, Phil. Tell me Robin Trower. Now I'm not very familiar with Robin Trower, so
The
tell me,
intro for
give me a
Trower.
little background here, and then I want you to tell me about Tom's Point.
Tom's Point after. Yeah. I have a bit of a dilemma. Will, you're gonna have to talk a little bit, and I'm gonna go run and take a leak.
There you go.
This is what we do with live. Hey, I don't think there's any set rules, and certainly the FCC is not is not keeping track.
Definitely
Okay,
not.
you talk for a second. I'll be right back.
Okay. Yeah, let's do it. So I'm filling in for Phil. Phil, vast brain of musical knowledge. This one. He's probably seen and interacted with more musicians, been to more concerts, played in shows than the average person 3 times over. I mean, I only get to hear most of his music snippets in our 8-hour workday, but there's he's an endless void of music appreciation and music. Hey Joey. There's almost nothing you can't talk to about Phil that he wouldn't, music wise, that he wouldn't reciprocate. I mean, he even listens to King Von, and I mean, you can't beat it. You can't beat that. So
Joey. I'm sorry. Was it Joey?
Joey's here. Yes, Joey has
Oh
just
my God.
joined the party.
Ah. Thank you, Joey. Mr. Garcia from the Titusville Legacy Garcia family.
Generational, third generation, Titusvillian.
And he pegged the timing just right. We got going like 5 minutes ago.
So I'll bring you back. Robin Trower intro.
Yes.
Tom's Point after. I am curious. 'Cause I don't think you've ever brought. Oh, you've talked to Trower to me about a little bit.
Yeah.
However, I don't think I've gotten your full experience of Trower so
Mm.
far.
You will, but we're not quite ready for that. So there's a thing on my sheet that's not on Will's sheet called announcements, and the announcements were and the announcements will be brief. It's really about like people that passed away. So
It's the
Jack,
brightest part of the episode, really.
yes, yeah. So for announcements, Jack DeJohnette was a jazz drummer starting in 1969 with the Miles Davis Bitches Brews sessions. And Miles brought. I won't dwell on this because at some point this will be half of the episode content of Miles Davis and the Bitches Brew session, where he just got every great player that was around in 1969 and did this thing that went on for like 2 months and essentially from the Bitches Brew album, the band members that were wide and varied, multiple guitarists, multiple keyboardists, multiple drummers. He had and he got all the young great talent. And Jack DeJohnette was one of these guys who went off. DeJohnette basically played with Chick Corea, but it was not in Return Forever, the band Return to Forever. But anyway, DeJohnette played and basically session for every great. My favorite, fast forward, and I'll end this. In the early '90s, when in the '90s was my jazz phase, and Pat Metheny was my favorite guitarist and my favorite band and my favorite player. And there's a quartet live DVD of DeJohnette, Metheny, Dave Holland, and Pat, and I think that's all four. It's my favorite live performance of fusion jazz that I think has ever been recorded. And it's Jack at his finest back in the 93 time frame. And so I ended up seeing Matheny during those periods all through the 90s. And anyway, so that was the announcement. It was, Jack DeJohnette. Um, Here's to Jack, an incredible player. Google him, look him up on YouTube, Jack DeJohnette, and it'll come up, and it's wonderful. So that's the announcements. Right. Okay. From there, this is the shoot the shit section, and we'll try to make this quick. Will has a Will's on a bit of a timeline, and so I do want to tell. Well, there's none of. Well, people will see this after. Well, there's only a few, but my family folks will hear this. But well, hey, Will, let's just jump into. So then there's the lead-in section, which is what's happening lately with music, which would have been Pierce the Veil two 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks and a day ago. Will's favorite band, Pierce the Veil. Go.
So I have over the last, I want to say 4 or 5 years,
Yeah.
the rock view for me has expanded. I was pretty solely on classic rock and maybe like early 90s, early 2000s was like my cutoff when it came to most of what I listened to. And my friends, I had heard of Pierce the Veil growing up. I just didn't really give them too much of a listen. But uh, right out of high school, going into college, I'd been to one of their concerts, and it was life changing. It was so they put on the performance of a lifetime like you wouldn't imagine. They're a band, they've been together for 18 years now. Like they
Wow.
have so much chemistry between each other and they know how to bring the energy. So I have ever since I saw them live, I don't think I've missed a performance that they've done here in Florida. Like they've
Right.
come, they went to Palm Bay, which is where I saw them first. They went to House of Blues, saw them there. They went to Tampa, I believe, and I saw them there.
Yeah.
Saw them at Rockville, and then I had to take Mr. Filbert, to this concert and at the University of Central Florida of all places. Um,
Alma mater.
the
Yeah.
alma mater,
Yeah.
a little far apart in our alma maters, but
There's years, there's decades. Yes.
so I told Phil, I said, "Hey, you're gonna love this concert because if in a nutshell, I mean, I know Phil has said he goes over the jazz, he goes over the rock, he goes over the classic rock, but in a nutshell, he doesn't like to give it away. But Phil is a heavy metal enthusiast.
Yeah. Yeah.
Phil, Phil is a headbanger. He doesn't give it away, but he is.
He really is.
So I said, Phil, you've never heard of this band? He goes, no. I said, Phil, this band has everything you'd ever want in it. The drummer, Lionel Robinson, a freaking beast on the sticks.
Oh my
Vic
God.
Fuentes, the voice of the modern day angel. You got
Vic.
Tony Perry on lead guitar, and he's just shredding away.
Wow.
And Jaime Williams on the bass. All right.
My God. Who does the screamo stuff? So the
Yes.
bass player does it. Until like yesterday, I didn't realize that the bass
He does the
player would do
background
the
vocals.
stuff so
Yeah.
that Vic could save his voice, his beautiful voice for all the shit he does. It was fucking great. But anyway, go ahead. And I got a little bit to add.
So that concert, I out of the 6 or 7 times that I've seen Pierce the Veil live, I think this concert that I took Phil to had to be one of the best. It was so emotionally charged. I liked the sound quality in the arena. I liked the way the sound kind of encapsulated you there. The
Yeah.
set was amazing. The lighting was amazing. The movement on the stage, their progression through their music. They took a little play on a couple songs. They like if anybody watching knows who Pierce the Veil is, they have a song called "I Don't Care If You're Contagious," and it's
Mm.
and on album on track, it's a hard rock, high BPMs, like heavy song,
Right.
but at the concert, they opened acoustic with it, and they transitioned from that song into
Yeah.
a slower song that they have on their first album, "A Flair for the Dramatic." And I thought that was just amazing. Like it was so cool to see them transition. You
Yeah.
first of all playing a song that is not supposed to be played that way, and they made it sound great, and then transitioning that into another one of their songs was
Right.
just so cool. But yeah, they blew me away like they do every time. But I would honestly, I'd like to hear from your perspective because you're the one who was the newbie at this concert.
I was the newbie. All I can say, they opened with. I have the set list here of. I have the set list of the show they did, and they opened with death of an executioner. Death of an executioner.
They've opened the last two or three concerts with that.
And from the moment, well, within 1 minute of them getting into that, I was just floored. And I'm going, wow, I hope the rest of the show's like this. And it just, so Death of an Executioner, I listened to on the way home tonight in that traffic. So there was a New Glenn, Blue Origin launched the New Glenn rocket today. We saw it this afternoon, 2 o'clock, 2:30, 4, 3 o'clock, whenever it was. And
4 o'clock, 4 o'clock,
yeah,
because
right,
of all
right.
the holds.
It drug out, which made the traffic really horrifically. But on the way home, I listened to Death of an Executioner, and I had not heard that. I hadn't heard that song since the show. So anyway, 2 weeks ago in a day, two Wednesdays ago, Will takes me to his favorite band, Pierce the Veil, and I just want to, for a visual aesthetic, I was such a fan that this is one of the two shirts I bought is Pierce the Veil, and the face is kind of scary, but they need to invoke emotion,
They do. They
Vic,
do that.
so bottom line, the front guy, Vic Fuentes, um, just can't say enough of how good that guy is. And I've seen a lot of frontman, including Robert Plant. You know, I've seen some frontman, Steven Tyler, and many others. And he, just it was just fantastic. So I can only describe it as you got to go see him live. Pierce the Veil. If you ever get a chance, go see him. Bottom line, right? Well, that kind of wraps it up.
I highly recommend that. Yeah. If
Yeah,
and
I was
they
blown.
are not a super. They're a big band for their genre. They're
Right.
not well. They're not like exactly the most popular band. Like they're not at I don't know. Let's say like a modern. They're not like at a Linkin Park level. They're not
Right.
at
Right.
They're
Right.
not at Green Day level. But
Right.
they're up there in a modern day rock band, and so the reason I bring that up is because their tickets are usually pretty inexpensive.
Right. Right.
You can go and see a concert of theirs for $50 or less.
So I have one more thing to add about the performance. So picture, other than that day driving over to Sanford, I'm sorry, to Orlando, to the Orlando Arena to see them. I hadn't really heard them, so I'm listening to songs that I could, I have Spotify, full on Spotify, and I can pull up, whatever's on Spotify, and but at the show, so I did get to hear a little bit on the way over, but at the show, what really knocked me out about them was all the references I was hearing. I heard, and mind you, some of these albums were done before the artists I'm going to mention. So I would bet money that Dave Grohl from Foo Fighters um, loves Pierce the Veil. I heard a Beatles reference. I heard a Foo Fighters reference. I heard a Oasis reference. And there were others, but those are the three that kind of jump out at me. But those I and the Beatles reference, it kills me. And there was one song, I actually have it in some notes, but I that's not in front of me right now. But they have one song that you could swear it's like if the Beatles were reincarnated and did an album when they were 20 or 25 or 30, when they were 30 or 35, um, this one song completely is homage to the Beatles, and I was just like amazed. I was in tears. I teared up twice. So anyway, that was the Pierce the Veil, show the shirt again. We had some people join. Somebody dropped off, but in case you didn't see the shirt. But anyway, that was 2 weeks ago. So it turns out part of the still intro was Will and I connected at work and realized we have this great music love in common. And so we'd seen shows in Sanford twice and Supervillains. And so in Sanford we saw Supervillains and we saw Levels
Levels.
open for the dude
Keith
from
Wallen,
Keith Wallen from
Breaking Benjamin,
Breaking
backup
Benjamin.
singer.
Breaking Benjamin. So that popped up, and it's like a day before. I said, "Well, it's like a Wednesday, it's like a Wednesday." and and I think it was Tuesday and then Wednesday or Wednesday. I can't remember what the 2 days were. It was in the middle of the week, and I said, "Well, I know this show's going to be good. It's $22 for a ticket, and we need to go." And we went. And after work, we drove over to Sanford to the that was at Tuffy's.
Yeah,
Wellen
Tuffy's
and
bar.
Wellen Levels was at Tuffy's. So we go over to see Wellen, Keith Wellen, who's basically the rhythm guitarist and backup singer for Breaking Benjamin. And Breaking Benjamin, the hard rock people just know who they are. And they're on 101.1 in FM Orlando area on occasion. And I've seen them live at Earth Day Birthday, and so we go see Keith Whalen, and like I said, the tickets were $22, $24, whatever they were. I got 2 tickets. We went over, but Keith wasn't the thing. It was the opening band, Levels. So there was this band called Levels. They were from was it? It wasn't Iowa.
No,
They were from like Cleveland or Iowa. They
I
were
think they're
from
from Arkansas too, right?
well, yeah.
Or they're from, or maybe they're from Little Rock.
Well, maybe. So let's just suffice it to say they're from the Midwest, and this band's playing that you think you would see in Los Angeles, on Hollywood Boulevard at the Coconut Teasers. And I've been to Coconut Teasers on Hollywood Boulevard. It's a rock club in Hollywood. I don't know,
And that's a story for another time.
but it is. But they could be playing there just like headlining. But anyway, so the Levels guys really blew us away. This
They were great.
Killer set. What was the song? Align. So just anybody listening, pull up the band. It's just called Levels, like you spell levels, and then pull up align. The word align. Levels align, and check it out. it's so anyway, so we did that. So Will and I bonded in the last 2 or 3 months pretty closely on the music front, and have seen other shows as well that we will not go into because we'll never get to Robin Trower.
Yeah, that's definitely future
Yeah.
content right there.
So for the shoot the shit section, I was going to talk about the cruise that the wife and I went on, and there's just a little bit too much material there to cover now, so I'm going to save it. But we went on a Alaskan cruise, 25th wedding anniversary, Alaskan cruise, just the two of us, and it was just an amazing thing. And I'll talk more about it in a future episode. But it was stunning and fantastic, and so we won't cover that tonight. Um, and then we're just kind of segueing it. Will, how much? I got a time. There's a time thing running. It tells me how long I've been on.
We're
Can
at
you?
35. We're at 35.
Okay, cool. Okay, perfect. Right in launch into the main event, the main topic. Um, let me get a sip of wine for this.
Yeah, so I'm excited to hear a little bit more about Trower, his work, and what I'm
Mm,
mostly excited to hear your experiences with Trower.
right, right. So so this is the main section. Um, and every episode will be a main feature topic from Lord only knows. It'll be many and far between, and also we will have interviews of like Mr. Park Hill and Miss Carolyn Willis, who plays every weekend in Cocoa Beach. You can go see Carolyn Willis. Willis, her band's called Dawn Patrol, and if you're in the area, you got to go check out Carolyn and Dawn Patrol.
That's
But
something that we have to do.
and you have not seen Carolyn yet.
I have not.
You have not. I used to work with Carolyn. Will and I both work at the Space Center, and we Kennedy Space Center. It's all space all the time. And but I worked with Carolyn back in the 2005 time frame. And anyway, she was playing a little bit back then, but she really is stuck with it, and she plays every weekend, Friday, Saturday, and usually Sundays, in Central East Coast, from Sebastian to excuse me, from Sebastian to Cocoa Beach. But so we have to do that. So I segued. So we're going back into the main content. So yeah. So but the point one, I think the point was there's going to be interviews, but Joey, Mr. Park Hill, um, that episode you cannot miss, right? So we won't schedule it when Joey's coaching THS football games, which we saw a week or two ago. So, shout out to Joey. That was see, you gotta get
Dude,
it out. You got to get it out before the main topic. Our cube mate
one of
Joey,
our fellow Cube dudes.
the cube dudes. There's four of us, and it's me and Will that you see here, and Joey, who's in the comments, and
Martin,
and
who's
we
who's
Joey
secret.
Joey Garcia and Mr. Martin has the James Bond name.
Yes.
Mark
And Martin is a secret, I feel like
Money
pretty
Smith.
secret music lover at heart. He just
Yeah,
hasn't gotten it out yet, so
yeah. So yeah, Martin. It's Martin Money Smith, a total James Bond name, right? You're in Vegas, or a casino in London, and it's Martin Money Smith. It's the NT 5000, or whatever the fuck. But so anyway, classic. But yeah, so cool. So anyway, So the main thing, we got to downshift and so my introduction to Robin Trower was the late 70s. We and my friends worked as busboys at restaurants. It was in Kissimmee, Florida, but there were all these restaurants heading out toward Disney World. And so and I say restaurants, it was really the hotels. It was the hotel restaurants,
Right.
Best Western, Holiday Inn, Red Carpet, and they all had restaurants. And we would go, we would stick with them for a long time, like a year plus. And so Best Western, our first job, um, we weren't driving yet, so we would get rides from Ron Hood, who was one of the waiters at Best Western, and his sister was the manager of the restaurant, Shirley. And Jeff had a crush on Shirley. Just saying. But so anyway, we get rides with Ron Hood, and he had an Imperial. So picture a Chrysler Imperial, um, and a half-ass stereo. And I was always in the back seat, always. I didn't care who sat up front. I was like, fuck it. And there were like three of us together riding into work with Ron. And he plays Bridge of Sighs, this album by Robin Trower, which happens to be his pinnacle work. And I was just instantly sold. But my brother Bud, my dear brother Bud, had gone through Trower, and Bud, over time you'll understand the stuff and the influences. But he blasted through Trower. He was already on to David Bowie by the time I was like even thinking about the name Robin Trower. But anyway, long story short, it goes back to those days riding in with Ron, and Ron would smoke the herbal weed, and here we are in 10th grade,
Classic.
10th, 11th grade, we're riding into work. Anyway, it was really cool. And Trower. So Bridge of Sighs was the album, and so we're gonna go into it here. All right. So from the beginning there, and Bridge of Sighs was the album. So I beg anybody listening to go check out the album Bridge of Sighs, because that was his pinnacle work. It came out in 1974. But anyway,
Which I will need to do.
you will need to do. Yeah. And that's what's the beauty about it is Will is hearing this. Will is hearing about Robin Trower for the first time. He and that's part of the cool thing, and it'll be vice versa at some point. But so let me see. Really, the experience began when I first saw him at Tom's Point After. So I went to UCF from 1980 to 1985, and I was into Trower heavily. Well, Tom's Point After was on 50. There's a hotel there right now, right at 50 in Althea. There's a hotel there.
The Holiday Inn.
Holiday Inn Express or whatever it is, and really just to the left of that Holiday Inn property was Tom's Point After.
Really?
And Brevard's County version of that was Brassey's, and we have friends that had been to Brassey's a shit ton, but it was Tom's Point After. So at UCF at the time, we would go there for Super Bowls or playoffs, or go see shows. And they had this big back room. It was a classic rock venue where it was a big bar, and in the back was the big room. It's basically like West End, but like 3 times bigger. It was huge.
Wow.
It was fucking huge. It would, if you packed the stage at Point After, you could fit, I'm guessing 500 people, maybe 500 people you could jam in there. And first time seeing Trower, and I was just this would have been 82-ish time frame, and it was magic and everything we could think of. And the second time we saw him was even kind of cooler because so then he comes back like in 84. And my Kissimmee friends to come. Here's where I drag in my Kissimmee friends. Eric, Jeff. Eric and Jeff were there. I'm not sure who all was there, but I know they were. And so they play, and so this is 84, and we're seeing Trower for the second time. Tom's Point After. And I'll add a little bit of color to Tom's Point After here in a second. But so they do the set, and it was just awesome. It was as good as the first time I saw him, if not better. And Trower back in 84, man, Trower was on his game. I mean, this is coming out of the 70s. So he's still on his game, and he's 80 years old. And I did forget to mention that one of the main reasons that Trower became the first episode was that Rick Beato. So there's a guy on YouTube, Rick Beato, Beato, Rick Beato. Check him out. But anyway, he did a interview recently with Robin Trower, and part of the content of this piece is really partially about that interview as well, and that's really what guided me to do Trower first instead of Aerosmith. But so check that out, Rick Beato, Robin Trower. Boom, it comes up on YouTube. But guitar fans, when you listen to this interview, because Rick Beato's a guitarist, and he's always sitting in a studio interviewing the folks, and he's done production work and produced records. But he was a professor at a university teaching music, and so that's what swayed the whole thing to Trower. So the second time I saw him, 84, Tom's Point After on 50 Colonial, essentially at the corner of Althea and 50. It's just it wasn't at the corner. It was just a little further down on the north side of the road, basically. And so the set was over. The drummer is like, so Trower will go through players as far as touring, and the guys on tour aren't necessarily the guys that did the record.
Right.
Give me 1 second. So so he had this drummer, 20-year-old kid, and the kid was like just smoking, just killing it, right? From the original drummer. And I'll have to talk about Jack Bruce. No, oh shit, I got to remember. I'll remember in a second. Robin Trower's sidekick for most of his early albums was James DeWar. So James DeWar played bass and sang. Trower didn't sing hardly at all. He wrote everything, but he didn't sing it. And James DeWar was his singer, and DeWar, goes down kind of like a Robert Plant for Trower. But so anyway, so we see the second time in 84 this young drummer who we realize, he's in like gym shorts, sneakers, and a tank top, and he's English. They're all English. They're from England. And he he saw us and he knew we were rocking out during the show, and he just came up and talked to us because we were pretty young, and he wanted to go surfing. And it turns out we were surfing at the time, and he wanted to go. He goes, "I would just love to go surfing." I can't do a English voice. He just this
I
guy
feel
wanted.
like I feel like I'm there in front of him.
Yes, yeah. Tom's Point after there was two entrances on the right side and the left side because the room was really big, and it was on the right entrance, and we were kind of around that area, and the lights had come up, and it wasn't late at night. It wasn't a late show, I don't think. And this kid, this drummer for Rbin Trower, started talking to us about, I'm going to go to Cocoa Beach and I want to surf. And Andy, Eric's younger brother, Eric was there. Eric was there for sure. Eric Niedenthal, my dear brother from another mother, um, uh, and probably his brother Mark and Andy. So Andy got his. So he's talking to Andy because they were probably about the same age, and Andy was talking to the drummer about, hey, if you want to do it, we'll do it tomorrow. And so anyway, it was really cool. I won't keep going on about that. You get the idea. They did not end up going surfing with the drummer,
Oh,
Rbin Trower. Because they were probably off. The guy's on tour, and unless it's a day off, and he'd have to rent a car. In other words, you'd have to pick the guy up and take him there. If he had a day off, that's how the road goes. That is just exactly how the road goes. And players and bands do that a lot. They'll go connect with somebody during the next day if they don't have to take off in a bus and go to the next city. They'll and Robert Plants has some stories about that. And people just like, hey, you got 2 days off, come stay with us, and he'll just do it. Fucking Plant from Zep. And I've heard at least one of those stories. But so anyway, I'm deviating. Let's stick with the outline, if you will. Will, say something so I can take a break. It's
well,
Joey. What the hell's going on?
well. I want to say first off, that's super cool.
Hmm.
Robert Trower sounds like a super cool musician. The shows that you went to, I can only imagine it's the mid '80s. You're in
Yeah,
Central Florida.
yeah,
You're
yeah.
sitting in a bar listening to some fusion.
So Trower is blues based rock. He's,
Okay.
he's blues based rock. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
so you're just deep in this awesome environment of music because I'm sure. So is I want to get a little bit more of a picture of this performance.
Oh,
So you
gotcha.
had you had told me that Tuffy or
We have to. I'm going to play a song on my phone, and then we'll test the whole copyright thing. But keep going.
you had told me that this place, Tom's Point After, was 3 times bigger than Tuffy's. Now, how big was the performance area where the stage was?
It would have been. It would have been West End, 3 times bigger than West End,
Okay.
twice as big as Tuffy's, and people load in.
Okay. So this is a pretty sizable event. This is
Yeah,
pretty sizable. This
it's a
has got to be
com-
500 people,
it's a
about give or take, rather than couple hundred, 100 in West End or Tuffy's in Sanford that
yeah,
we've.
yeah.
So it's the mid 80s. There's a cigarette dangling from the mouth. I
Um,
mean,
yeah, not yet, not yet. I started
there's
smoking.
other people with their cigarettes dangling from their mouths.
Yes, yes.
There's maybe a sploof or a doobie in your mouths, just
Um,
maybe.
yeah. Um. Anyway, I
And
don't remember that part.
and not only is all of this happening, but the drummer is approaching you guys and going,
Yes.
I don't know you guys. You want to go surf?
Yeah.
Phil, that sounds like
It was unbelievable.
I don't know a better way to spend your early 20s.
It was exactly. It was really that event where the drummer came and talked to us. Basically, he realized we were really into Trower during the show, and he sought us out afterwards. And I think that's how that came to be. And he probably realized these are a bunch of these are like 5 Florida cracker kids, and maybe they surf. And turns out we did. And bottom line, yeah, it's really cool. So yeah, point after. I'll have to describe to you maybe at work Tuesday as far as the layout and stuff. But it was just it was a big bar in front. It was a rectangular. So picture a building that's rectangular in shape. You walk in, it's the big bar, and then they have a big they have a decent. The second half of the place is the second half of the building is a concert hall that holds 500-600 people or something. Yeah, something like that. That'd be max, you know, but it would hold 400 or 500 people for sure. And uh, it was old school, it's black, nothing's painted like colorful like nowadays and shit. All the stuff at West End, none of that's on the wall. There's nothing on the wall. There's a
Couple of
stage.
spotlights.
There's a stage, and then that of course that concert part of the place had a bar, so it was like back to back. Picture back to back bars separated by a wall, and the other bar was the concert venue place, and so yeah, it's really neat. Tom's Point After was an iconic UCF place, but it was also a place for concerts. Many people. I saw other shows there. Streets. There was a band called Streets that had Steve Walsh from Kansas. So when Kansas broke up, Steve Walsh formed a band called, what did I just say a second ago? Streets. And they had this first album out that was absolutely kick ass. It was just epic. Streets came, and we had already seen Kansas at Lakeland Civic Center as a headliner, like 5 years before that. We were big Kansas fans. I was 70s. There's so much music.
Dust in the Wind.
Yeah, the Kansas, the original album, and then the second one, Overture, and we were big Kansas fans. But anyway, we're Streets. So what were some of the other shows? I didn't go to a ton at the Point After shows, but when I got to Cocoa Beach in Brassey's, it picked up with Joe Satriani, Surfing with the Alien Tour, Joe Satriani in 87, 88 at Brassey's. And I saw, so we'll that's a perfect segue, because the third time I saw Trower was at Brassey's in Cocoa Beach.
You saw him in Cocoa.
In 88. Yeah, in 88. It basically, Brassey's was the same concept as the Point After, Tom's Point After, but it was more of a bar than it was. But regardless, third time Trower was at Brassey's, and it was epic. And then the fourth time was at the power station on Wickham Road. That was the last time I saw him. Probably 92, 93. So anyway, I'm a huge fan. I think I'm going to queue up. So for the listeners, when you're doing these things, whether you're Rick Beato or whether you're Steve Schmidt, or it doesn't matter who you are, there's copyright rules. So you can't. So I'm doing a podcast about music, but you really can't play much or show it at all, because all those things are owned by um, owned by companies, and the companies will just the first step they do. So here's we're all learning about the, and we'll learn a little bit about it. Will and I talked about this pretty much at length, but you can't you basically can't play anything or show anything that's copyrighted that somebody owns. Bottom line.
So what
So
are we going to do? We're going to show something that somebody else owns because
yes.
we don't play by the rules. We never have. I don't think anybody. I don't think the people in the watching the video realize that Mr. Phil Thomas is a rule breaker. Mr. Phil Thomas is not another brick in the wall.
Oh my gosh, my wife would agree with that. She's like, when we're traveling. Now you have to be on your best behavior on the Alaskan cruise. You can't be stepping out of line. You can't be freaking her out. You got to stay tight. But oh boy, there's been countless encounters. Phil deviating from the group, snorkeling in Key West, and Phil just went outside the whole bounds, and he's just 30 feet out, and I was just cruising right because I turns out I could snorkel. I was quite a fish guy, a water guy, and so you get the idea. But yeah, same thing. Um, where were we? What were we talking about?
You're gonna play us a snippet.
Yeah, to Trower, right? So,
Let's play a snippet then.
so yeah, so to end this, there's copyright, and there's also something called fair use, fair use agreement, where if you do things in a certain way, it's considered fair use. If you're using them for educational purposes, for instance, um, then and you're actually doing an instruction video like Rick Beato does. He does many of those. And by the way, get Rick if you're a musician, get Rick Beato's. He's got a sale right now on his whole library, his courses that he's created over a period of 15 years, and it's $79. Man, if you want to learn how to play an instrument, fucking check that out and pay $80, and you will learn how to play something. I'm telling you. But anyway, I deviated again,
Play
and
us a snippet.
oh yeah. So we're gonna test out the waters. If I can find my phone here, we're gonna test out the waters on what you can do. And I thought if I just played it from my phone, it seems pretty,
What a lot of
pretty.
people don't understand is this podcast
Yeah,
is educational.
it
This
is
is fair use because we're educating people on your experiences in your life. That's education right there, folks. I don't think you guys realize, as
Keep going.
I was saying earlier, that Mr. Phil Thomas has enough music education and enough music experience and enough music performance to probably live 5 people's lifetimes over. Okay, this is educational. The whole purpose of this series is to suck out the information of that guy's brain because there's so much of it that he has to offer. All right. And I'm here as a supporting member because I like to ask him the questions that I feel like he doesn't think about when he talks about his experiences, either as a musician or with musicians or in shows and artistry, but yada, yada, yada. Um, I think that his experiences are his own. So it's very easy for him to just be, yeah, I was hanging out with the band and then I drove around with the band and then I took them out for drinks. And it's like, hold on, back it up, Phil. Where did you guys go? What did you talk about? What happened in your experience with this band? And that's why I'm here because I want to know how his experience really was. Not, oh yeah, I went to the place, it was cool. What did it sound like?
Right.
Did they talk to you? What did they look like? Was
Yeah.
Robin Trower this 6'7" giant on the guitar, or was he a 5'10" Afro wearing midget? Like,
Gotcha. So we're experimenting with this, but my first thought was I could just show things and uh, give me a sec. Ah, so here's Robin Trower nowadays. So picture this guy. So he's from England. So a brief history of Robin Trower. He in the Rick Beato interview, and that's completely part of this outline here. He started. He was playing music at 14 and 15 when I was born in 1962. So he had to start in the 60s. They were all influenced by all the British guys were all influenced by all the same people from Elvis to the bands that were the 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 blues black artists of the time, from Chuck Berry to all those guys, and I know others, but they just don't come to mind. But he was influenced from that. He had a band. He was in a band originally through the mid '60s, and then he joined a band called Procol Harum. Procol Harum. You have to look them up. Their big hit on the radio was "Whiter Shades of Pale." If you ever hear the song "Whiter Shades of Pale," it's Procol Harum and Robin Trower's playing guitar. It was probably around 67, 68. They were recording at Abbey Road Studio at the time, some of these records. And essentially in London, there were studios. In Abbey Road, of course, was the best, but there were others. The ones Olympic Studio, Abbey Road. So they all record at the same studios at different times, and they would run into each other. So in the Rick Beato interview, to put it in perspective, let me show a picture first, and then so you know what he looks like. This is what he looks like nowadays. Certainly wasn't what he looked like in the in '67, hanging out with George Harrison. Let me see.
oh, there you go, Mr. Rick Beato. Yeah, he
Yeah,
doesn't look a day over 45.
right. So that's Trower, and so you can kind of see. You see it at all? It looks weird on the image because it looks like his hair is all to one side, but it's not. Actually, it is. um, it is to one side, but only because he's, had a receding hairline there. But that's
Receding headline, I would say, but
a receding headline. Oh, this is a better image. So this is a classic shot. Oh, that didn't work. So give me a sec. This is where, so in the future, I'll have this stuff kind of queued up and I'll have pictures and being able to do stuff. But right now, that's a good, so that's what he looks like now. And really, we just know what he looks like now. But that's Mr. Trower giving it up, playing this song. So I'll just jump straight into Bridge of Sighs, and I'm just going to sample a couple of songs. It starts out with a song called um, that on there. I should have that.
yeah, give it a couple seconds in there.
This is Flounder right here. And this stuff will be tighter in the future. Joey's going, man. Hey Joey, we're getting the paperwork together for the tabletop. Give us a second. My God. Is Blanca calling us again? Shit. Uh, so in the future, we got to pull in Joey. Everybody's got to hear Joey talk, and we'll do like we could do a thing where an episode where the after the intro, like, hey, here's our show, next episode, and then we launch into what's new, and we just hear about Joey's football escapades. Joey,
That's an idea.
if he's still, I think he's still on. Comment, please.
Hey, I want to hear a snippet from Bridge of Sighs.
Yeah, you do. And then, so for everybody's welfare, it's an hour and 10 minutes in, and we're going to end it pretty soon.
Yeah, we'll hear some snippets here.
We'll hear
We'll give it a wrap up, and let's give some ideas for next episode.
Right. Here we go. Here we go. It opens up with a song called "Day of the Eagle." So it's "Day of the Eagle," and then it goes into "Bridge of Sighs." So it turns out "Bridge of Sighs." I had to look it up for this for this for this podcast. Bridge of Sighs is actually I had it written down here. It's a bridge, I think, in Italy. And anyway, it's this bridge in one of the European
Oh
countries.
yeah, in Venice.
Venice, Italy. Yeah, yeah. So Bridge of Sighs, it's the title cut of the album, but it's a magical. So the first song, I'll play the first song just so everybody. Bombastic. And then the vocals come in with and it's James DeWard on bass. It's a trio. Well, the trio. It's the trio. There's only three guys. And there I am. The people seem to think I'm Superman.
So is that Trower's frontman?
And so you get the idea. But then you go into this magical experience. There's two songs together. It's Bridge of Sighs, and then it's followed by a song called "In This Place." And does it sound okay? Does it sound okay?
Yeah.
Is it distorted?
No, not really.
In my headphones, it's a little distorted.
Like a little bit.
I think the mic is playing weird with either that or the gummies are kicking in big time. The little dropouts or something. And this is a song called Bridget. So that's a song called Bridge of Sighs. And just when it drops into the chorus, and magical. I'm so unforgiving. I'm so cold. You know I'm top crossing. Bridge of Sighs. So you get the idea. It's mystical.
A little bit. A little bit.
Yeah, mystical and super cool. Um, Crossing the bridge of sighs, and then it goes into this beautiful song in this place, and I'll just play you a little. So the bridge of sighs song segues into this. Maybe turn it up a little bit or down. Maybe down. Does it sound distorted?
No, it actually doesn't sound bad now.
Okay. In this place, feel empty space. Your love was the key, baby, since I need you. So you get the idea. That was the first three songs, and then Will, one of his most famous songs is called "Two Rolling Stones," and this was actually for Trower. "Two Rolling Stone" was probably his greatest song, his biggest hit. Let's just say, and in the most, it was like his anthem that me and Ron Hood and Eric and Jeff and Bill and Jimmy shark fishing in Sebastian Inlet in 1978 after work. And Ron's got this cranked in his freaking Chrysler Imperial, and we're just unloading shit. We would go after. Check it out. We would work, and it would be a Friday or Saturday night where the kids could leave and leave home. And Ron would take us to Sebastian Inlet, and we would go fishing. And we thought we were going shark fishing, but that never quite occurred at that instant. But and we'd be listening to this, typically, but not only. It was a lot of Aerosmith. Let's face it, it was a lot of Aerosmith too. So, and I think there was one more I wanted to. Oh, Two Rolling Stone. Yeah. So this was like his kind of pinnacle song. And we'll see how this goes with the authorities.
Let's hope we stay under the radar. Very 80s jazz. Rock jazz. Blues rock.
Bring me some real bad news. Great song. Come on, rolling. Bring some real bad news. Get the honey, give us sing the blues. And here's Robin. Now you get to hear Robin. keep rolling. There's a real bad news. Girls get the heart, give us sing the blues. Not to wait me, because the simplest one. The solo goes on for another minute or so, but well, what do you think?
Dude,
Different than you thought.
blues rock guitarist
Sure.
was shredding that shit. God, that was some real fucking talent, let me say.
Yeah. So yeah, he Trower was cool because Trower was the kind of guy that Uriah Heep liked. Trower was the kind of guy. Trower was like Jeff Beck. Jeff Beck was like totally different styles, but all blues based, guitar rock, both. But Jeff Beck, and there'll be an episode on Jeff Beck, believe me. But but basically, both of those guys are guys that other big bands at the time were listening to. And that kind of tells the tale. If there's a famous band who they're listening to, that's kind of anyway. And that was Trower and Beck at different stages and such. And I'm thinking from one of the songs I heard on the way home from work, the Pierce the Veil. We got an extra watcher here. Plugging Pierce the Veil again because not everybody saw this shirt, but this is what Will and I saw 2 weeks ago, Wednesday in UCF. The Pierce the Veil shirt. I don't know if you can see it all, but
For the most part.
But I caught a little, and this could be a nice little way to kind of wrap it up. But during the Pierce the Veil thing, I caught a whole Dave Grohl, Foo Fighters thing for sure that Pierce had done before Foo Fighters had ever started, and so I would bet Dave Grohl is a big fan of Pierce the Veil, and it's the bands that other pro bands listen to those are the good bands.
Right, right, right,
Whether it's a jazz player or whether it's a band.
right.
Go ahead. Yeah. I
No,
mean,
yeah, I was just just agreeing that yeah, like I mean, you as a professional touring, album making, songs writing
yeah,
band is getting listened to by somebody else that does the same thing. I mean, how much more can you make it in the musicians world? You know what I mean? When
right.
other musicians who are just as talented, or you maybe
Just
not as talented, just as talented, more than capable, are
yeah,
listening to you. You know?
yeah, yeah. And 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 they have something different that you love. Here's an example. So this I know for a fact, and we'll wrap it up. I'll end it with this. Um, Back in my jazz, so from God, what was it? 93 to 2001, I was in a jazz phase, and I joined a contemporary jazz band. It wasn't traditional jazz, but it was. And so my almost my whole 90s, I sidelined any rock and roll because we were immersed in jazz. Anyway, here's the point. Um, there was a band that the other jazzers, the other pro jazzers listened to, and there were actually two, and there were probably many more. They're into whatever they're into, but there were two bands. Chick Corea Electric Band was
Yeah,
was was Chick Corea Electric Band was the Led Zeppelin for fusion jazz through the 90s, hands down. I'm sure somebody not listening now. I'm sure somebody out in this country that would go, "Oh, dude, it was somebody else." But it was Chick Corea Electric Band, and all those guys. And I saw the Electric Band twice. The first one in 1993 at Jacksonville Jazz Festival. Fucking unbelievable, totally unbelievable. But there was another band called the Yellow Jackets, and I never liked the name Yellow Jackets, but those guys, they were from Los Angeles, and so we did some openers for Roland Giarto for Brevard Jazz Series back in the 90s, 95, 96, 97. And we would open. And we weren't the only ones. He would get Jeff Simpson to do the openers. He'd get us to do the openers, and he'd get some Demas's band. Oh my God, Demas Sanchez had the best jazz band in the 90s. And it wasn't even Demas's band. Demas was just the drummer, but he was from fucking South America. That son of a bitch. Oh my God, what a great monster player. I think he went on to play professionally. But so we would rotate and do these openers for Roland's acts that he would get that were essentially national acts. So we did one, and we got to talk to the guys, and we actually got to hang out with them. And I'm talking to Kim Stone, the bass player for the Rippingtons. Basically, he's a bass player for the Rippingtons. It was the biggest contemporary jazz band at the time, and he said, and I got one-on-one time. This was one of the most special moments of music I ever had as a musician, and really, and I'm talking to Kim Stone, the bass player for the Rippingtons, and for like a half hour, smoking cigarettes. He smoked cigarettes. He's from L.A. Smoked cigarettes. Looks like a bohemian, dressed like bohemian jazz, and we're smoking cigarettes at Lloyd's at the port back then. And he said, "The Yellow Jackets are it. That's what we listen to, the Yellow Jackets."
Oh
And
wow.
go ahead.
Oh, I was just like, that's surprising to hear.
Yes, yeah, yeah. And of course I knew who the Yellow Jackets were. We did as a band, Leo and Rob,
Right.
everybody. And I was like, wow. I think that's where the my wow came from.
From this one moment.
This one moment, I went, wow. I was just taking it in, and but so anyway, magic moment. Joey will appreciate that. But uh, that was the point is there's so every band your favorite. So picture everybody that listens to this eventually. Your favorite band, they have a favorite band, and they're
Right.
listening to somebody, and that's the kind of cool shit. That's kind of the path you want to follow, and that'd be a good way to kind of wrap this up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It has been a pleasure. It was fun. It was awesome hearing about your experiences,
Right.
specifically with Robin Trower and a couple other of some one-offs
Yeah.
that I'm sure we can dive more into in later future anticipatory episodes. But yeah, I
Yeah.
think we could call it here.
Cool.
You have anything you want to say for the end outro?
Only that my brother will see this eventually, and my my true um, influence and guiding light in music since the Beatles and when I was 4 and 5. So Bud was 6. He's 7 years older than me, and so he was getting the Beatle albums, and here I am growing up as a young child. And at four I first noticed it. At 5 I started getting it, and I'm going, oh, this is just fun. And so basically, a shout out to my brother Bill Thomas Jr., Bud, Bill Thomas, Bud.
Shout out to Bud, man. He
Shout out.
wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Bud. So
Basically, right. Essentially, absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And he was the biggest influence from seeing. Here's a reference that'll freak people out that nobody will hear. Um, Iron Butterfly on the steps of Jacksonville Coliseum in Jacksonville in God, it was probably '68. It was Iron Butterfly, and Bud was going to get a ticket, and we all went. Me, Trace, Mom, and Bud went to go get Bud a ticket to the Iron Butterfly show during the day, like on a Saturday or whatever it was. And we go up there, and Iron Butterfly is set up on the stairs in front of a closed coliseum, like at like 1 in the afternoon. 1 in the afternoon. They just decided we're going to get our gear out and plug in and jam. And the place isn't open. And they
right.
and this is Iron Butterfly, Inagata Vita. Inagata Vita, baby. Yeah, but it was a big drum set. Yeah, so the song goes on for 20 minutes. It's pretty silly, actually. But Iron Butterfly was big back then. And I remember sitting in the car, we're all together, and Bud went off to go try to buy a ticket. And it's the day. It's not the concert, it's at night. The concert's tonight, but this is midday, and they're set up playing. So that kind of paints a picture of how strangely magical it was. And Leonard Skinner came from Jacksonville,
That
but
they did.
it was about Skinner and seeing Skinner, and that was another episode. And I'll stop. This is that tail end where I gotta end it. Sorry.
All righty. All
Uh,
righty. It was awesome. It was fun. Yeah, we'll see you in the next one.
Very cool, Will. It's been a long time coming. Thank you very much, my dear friend. Well, this was originally going to be with Joe Gretzky from Sanford, but Joe it was too hard to pin down, and we just couldn't get the scheduling together. Will and I work together every fucking day. So it's a lot easier to coordinate.
Yeah, just a tad. But
All right. All right. Shout out to Bud. Shout out to Tiffany, my dear niece. Shout out to my dear daughter, Brooke. Shout out to my wife, Becky. It was really
Becky.
Becky allows us to all.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for letting him be here and take this time,
Yeah.
Becky.
Well, it was all the time leading up to this.
But all right.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was fun, Joey. And Will, do you want to say anybody on the comments page there? You got some fans. Will's got some fans. So I'm in this cube with these two handsome, fucking eligible guys.
Well, not eligible. One of them.
One of them's married and not eligible, but Joey and yeah, I had
Not eligible. I'm not smart, and some would beg to differ that I'm not handsome. Joey.
Oh my God! Right. That was okay. Well, we'll end it there. That's a great part to cut it off, dude. Love you. We'll see you. We'll talk at work tomorrow.
Yep. We'll see you. Make sure you end this one.
I have to end this one.
Don't let it go for 100 hours.
So the first the time we got the closest to actually doing something with content, it took us about 12 minutes to get connected audio, and we got it. But at the end of it, after about an hour, I thought I hit end stream and end it, but the camera ran all night. The show actually is 10 hours of darkness and 50 minutes of talking.
So end this one. End this one.
Literally.
Yes.
Yeah. So this one was called episode 1, The Shit, Rbin Trower. We're signing
There
off.
you go.
We'll do episode 2 soon. All right, dude. Hey, have fun at the Twister party. He's going to a party where there's like Twister. That's all I heard. So he's got to go.
All righty, Phil. End this one.
All right. All right. Jesus.